Hi, this is Kevin from MaximizingEcommerce.com. I help people start and grow e-commerce businesses. In this video, I'm going to talk about selling on Amazon UK. Specifically, this is geared more towards US-based sellers, but if you're watching this and you're in Europe, this should be a pretty educational video for you as well. So why sell in the United Kingdom? Well, for one, it's one way to maximize your results because you get to expand on an additional customer base, and it is another English-speaking marketplace. So if you're a primarily English-speaking person, let's say you're in the United States or you're in the UK or you're somewhere else, it's great to have a presence in the United Kingdom because you don't have to worry about translating listings into another language. Also, if you are interested in then later translating your listings into other languages, like let's say German or Spanish. One of the nice things about starting off in the UK is that you can use it as a launch pad for other European marketplaces that Amazon has. So let's talk a little bit about the comparison between Amazon.com, which would be in the US, and Amazon.co.uk, which of course would be in the UK. So in the United States, the population is roughly 319 million people, and in the UK, it's roughly 64 million people. So you might be thinking, well, that's only about 1/5 the population of the US. Why would I even waste my time? Well, think of it this way. That could be an additional 20% more sales. And the reality is, I've found there's not really as much competition from the standpoint of number of sellers and as aggressive as the sellers are in the US as they are in the UK. Now, that could change, but I found you can put your products up on Amazon.co.uk and you can start getting sales even before you have reviews. One of the nice things is your reviews, although they won't show on a listing page, or excuse me, they won't show on the search page. So if someone searches for like French coffee press, for example, and you just launched it, and that was your product in the US, it's not going to show any reviews, but when they click on the listing page, they will actually see the reviews from the US. So it'll say reviews from Amazon.com. So it is one way that helps close the deal, so to speak, for you. Also, just note that in the US, the currency, of course, is the US dollar, whereas in Britain, it is the pound. So it is different money. So there are some things you just have to consider with that. The US is a member of NAFTA, the North American Free Trade Agreement, which has some trade advantages between the US and Canada and Mexico. But that is nothing like the European Union. The European Union, it's, even though they're different countries, it's almost as free moving with commerce. Once products are in the European Union or one of the European Union member countries, moving things around, and this isn't exactly the perfect analogy, but it's not that much more complex than moving between states in the U.S. Now, it's not quite as free moving because these are sovereign nations, but because of the way the European Union is structured, as long as you're meeting all the right VAT requirements and things like that, then it's pretty easy to move things around between, move your goods and services, so to speak, between various EU member countries. Now, in the US, you have potential sales tax requirements. And in the UK, there's the potential VAT requirements. I cannot stress how much it is important that you get to know, if you're not familiar with VAT, the value added tax, you get to know what those different requirements are. Registration for VAT is going to vary based on different countries within the EU. So even though goods and services, as I was saying, probably flow around almost as freely as they would between states in the U.S., there are VAT ramifications. So make sure you do your own research and talk to an accountant, some sort of professional, because you do want to make sure that you're compliant on that. So I would say that VAT is definitely going to be a little bit more complex than, say, sales taxes in the U.S. Also, comparing between Amazon marketplaces, one thing I thought was just kind of interesting, although not a huge thing, was that in the US, the buy box says add to cart. In the UK, it says add to basket. I don't know why I thought that was so entertaining, but I just thought that was unique that was something different between the two countries. Also, in the U.S., whenever you sell a product, you get a nice little email every time you sell something and they ship it out. If you're part of FBA, Fulfillment by Amazon, you get a email that says, "We thought you'd like to know that we've completed and shipped your Amazon.com fulfillment order to one of your customers," and then I whited out the order number there. And then in the UK, you get a similar email that says, "Greetings from Amazon.co.uk. We thought you'd like to know that we've completed and dispatched your Fulfillment by Amazon order." Then, of course, I whited out the order to one of your customers. I just thought that was interesting that they use the word dispatched, but dispatched seems to be a word that's used a little bit more in Europe than it would be in the US. Now, in the US, you can use the US as kind of a launching point for Amazon.ca, which would be Canada, and Amazon.co.mx, which would be Mexico. Now, I've launched into Canada. I've not launched into Mexico just yet, but those are two options. And as I was saying earlier, you could freely move goods and services. Maybe I shouldn't say freely, but it's a lot more easy to move things between and ship at least to customers within EU countries than it would be, say, from the US to Canada, because you're paying more to get across the border than you would, say, going from like UK to Germany. Now, that's not a perfect example, so of course, again, make sure you do your own VAT research. But you could also use Amazon.co.uk as a great launching pad for France, Spain, Italy, and Germany. And Germany is the number 2 marketplace right after Amazon.com. So Amazon's number 2 marketplace is in Germany. So it's a great place to get going. So, the doors are just starting to open as you go into the UK, because I really can't stress enough that it is a great launching pad into those other marketplaces. And they've got all kinds of different programs depending on what your VAT requirements and registrations are. They've got the European Fulfillment Network, where you could house all your inventory in the UK, and then it could be shipped out to customers in other European countries. They got the Pan-European program where basically you could ship everything into the UK, for example, and then they could, Amazon would then, ship your inventory to other fulfillment centers in other EU countries. So all kinds of different ways of doing it, and the UK is a great launching pad. And I'm just now starting to get started going into Germany, for example. Now, what are some considerations for going into the UK? So if it sounds like something you're interested in doing, make sure, and I cannot stress this enough, do your research, talk to a professional about value-added tax requirements. If you're a US-based company, assume you are going to have to register for VAT. Again, do your own research, but kind of go into it with the assumption that you're going to have to go ahead and get registered and file appropriately for VAT, which is basically almost like a sales tax. Then there's shipping costs involved that are going to be a little bit different. Now, one thing you could do is, if let's say you order a product and let's say you're importing it from China, you could have some of the product sent to you directly to the US, for example, and you could have some of it sent to the UK. And then there's companies you can work with, like FBA Prep UK, for example, that could work with you on prepping your inventory to go into one of the fulfillment centers. Also, there's going to be a few currency differences. So just keep in mind that when you are making transactions in British pounds, eventually the money is going to get to you. If let's say you're a US-based company, it's going to get to you in US dollars. You are going to lose a little bit along the way in that changeover of funds. So the exchange rates when Amazon does it themselves are not quite as favorable as, say, I've not had a lot of experience with this, but I know a lot of sellers have had good luck with companies like Payability or World First. You can look into some of those that have somewhat more favorable exchange rates. So definitely something to look into. That also, another thing on here is you need to make sure to get an economic operator registration number, an EORI number, which is what you use basically as your importer license. So you may be wondering, is Amazon.co.uk right for you? And bottom line is, it just depends on where you are in your journey and if you think it's going to help you. If you're in the US, there's all kinds of different things you can do to maximize your results just in the US. But I've found it's a great way to at least get started in another country and use it as a launching point into other European marketplaces. Because the way I look at it is, you're going to sell whatever you're going to sell in the US if you're a US seller. If you can just add on more, even if it's 10-20% more sales someplace else, and you're not cannibalizing the sales that you would have made in the US, it's totally worth it. So that's my take. Now, I waited about a year selling online on Amazon before going into the UK, but it's up to you if this is something you want to do. I would say start doing your research, and but don't do too much research. Start taking some action once you feel you got the base knowledge that you need to get started. So, did you find this video helpful? If you did, I would ask that you click the little thumbs up button below to like this video and subscribe to the channel so that we can keep you informed as more videos get uploaded. And also, feel free to leave a question or comment down below. I try to respond to as many as possible, and I definitely try to read them all. Also, you can visit us at www.maximizingecommerce.com to sign up for exclusive tips and resources. So thank you for watching this video and making it all the way to the end. Thank you, and have a great day.